Whoa, what was that? Let's go check it out. Wait a second. I know what this is. This is Bill Making Stuff's Junkbot Generator. Bill and some of my other favorite creators have made some really cool builds with this, so I'm really excited to take a crack at it myself. Before we get started, let's tape this thing down so it doesn't fly away. Alright, let's get rolling. Starting at the top for our body, we rolled a 1, which is belly full. There's lots of belly full robots out there, one of my favorites being Sausage Santa here. For our head, we got Fishbowl. Oh my goodness, there aren't enough fishbowl robots out there, so this is going to be awesome. Our robot's arms will be knuckle-draggers, and the hands will be... oh, that one doesn't count. The hands will be... Knuckles. Okay, that's a little redundant, but I'm certainly not complaining. For our legs, we'll have... no legs. Alright, we're making a Geodude, it's decided. And lastly, our flavor will be... too many spikes. Okay, so maybe not an OG Geodude, but a Geodude regional variant with a fishbowl head. After sketching out my robot, here's what I came up with. I initially thought I'd give him 3 arms, primarily to keep him from rolling away. But I honestly fell in love with the Geodude inspiration after joking about it so much. So I'll only be giving him 2 arms, and hopefully that won't cause any balance issues. Before tackling any of the clay components of my bot, I need to figure out what the heck I'm going to use for the fishbowl. That's where my daughter's bag of toy characters comes in. This clear container is pretty cool, but it's not exactly fishbowl shaped. This is what I want. Unfortunately, my daughter said she wanted to keep that toy, but she had a duplicate she said I could use. Well, a different design, but same fishbowl helmet. Before I put these away, look at this freaking adorable Cheez-It. I love him so much. Alright, helmet surgery time. I unsuccessfully try using my snippers to get this thing off, and I'm convinced at this point that I'll end up breaking this helmet. So then I try to use my plastic spudger tool. I push the pointy end of my spudger into one of the holes at the bottom of the helmet, and it somehow cleanly opens the helmet. After washing the inside of the helmet with some soap and water, it's nice and clear. I was worried that the cloudiness of the plastic was unfixable. But luckily, all it needed was a little bubble bath. The big belly base of our bot is going to be this big ball of foil that I very neatly cover with a sheet of cosclay and smooth out into a very rough ball shape before baking it for a few minutes. After trying to smooth our big belly ball out some more with a bit of sanding, I coat it with some cosclay separator to prepare our ball for its first bowl. The purpose of the cosclay separator is to make it easier to remove our bowl from the ball after baking. Next, we trim the edges of our bowl and realize after 3 not quite right bowl iterations that a better approach is to use these wooden balls for our bowl molds. And we'll still use this clay ball as the body of our Junkbot, which I've now decided to name Olly. For the middle ring portion of Olly's body, I use my wooden ball again by draping a thin sheet of cosclay onto it and texturing it with a metal ruler. Since I want the design of my Junkbot to look like it was pieces scavenged from my dungeon diorama, this middle ring, along with other accent rings you'll see me make, will look like leather strips gathered from dungeon creatures. After gluing my 2 bowls onto the ball base, I penciled in where I want the spikes to go on Olly's big, beautiful belly. Then I get started on the neck piece that will hold our fishbowl in place, and give it the same line texturing as the belly ring. Trying my luck with some very sticky and very soft glow clay, I somehow successfully roll out my first few spikes and pop them in the oven for 15 minutes. To snugly secure Olly's neck piece to his body, I trim away some of the body to fit the neck ring in place. Next, I use my Dremel to drill 42 of Olly's 62 spike slots in place. Before moving on to attaching our neck ring, I make sure that the holes I drilled are the right size for the spikes that I'm still in the process of making. And it looks good. Using some clay glue and some raw cosclay, I attach Olly's neck ring to his body. Since I want him to have a Mario-style pipe neck design, I attach another strip of clay to the top of his neck ring. And because I'm going all in on the too many spikes theme, Olly's neck piece will also have some spikes added to it. So I add the little sockets for those as well, so that I don't have to Dremel them in later. After counting how many spikes I still had left to make, I finish up making them and trimming them to their final lengths. Similar to his neck ring, I made these 2 matching shoulder rings for Olly. But before I glue them on, I trim and drill some holes to hold his arms in place. For the arms, I start with this super thick craft wire that I wrap some clay around. After baking them, I attach Olly's faux elbow joints on. For our knuckle-dragger hands, I want them to be bigger than our robot's head. And I want them to look like they could do some major damage. So I molded them into fish shapes and gave them some spike slots. I also textured them to look like giant rocks by hacking away at them with a fresh X-Acto blade. After seeing how these stony hands turned out, I kinda want to make an actual Geodude figure in the same style. His leather wrist cuffs then get glued onto the hands and fitted to the arms. I realized last minute that Olly's hands were the only part of his body that I gave a rocky texture to, and I didn't like that. So I decided to give his collar a rocky texture as well. Beautiful. Since I want the weathering texture on this guy to pop nicely when I paint him, I used my sanding tools to add some more wear and tear on him. Because if he's rolling around in a rocky dungeon every day, he's definitely getting scuffed up. The time has finally come to make our little fishy boy, which my daughter said I should name Gupp. So we've got our robot named Olly, and his fish friend named Gupp. One of my favorite things about this build is not having to look at reference images made by someone else, and worrying that my version isn't accurate enough. Even though I am relying on my own reference sketches to make these guys, I can just decide I want to make changes to the original design at any moment. And that's something I don't often get to indulge in because my overall preference is to make miniatures of things that already exist. I don't often enjoy making my own designs, but this Junkbot has been a rare and super fun exception. Initially, I thought I wanted Gupp to have a big metal jaw, so I trimmed some triangles off a sheet of clay and attached them to his face. But after seeing it completed, I didn't really like it as much as I did in my pencil sketch. So I got started on Gupp 2.0 and gave him more realistic teeth and a little lip to hold his little teethers in place a bit more securely. And lastly, Gupp gets his little swimmy fins and his little top fin. He's so cute already. After a quick teeth guard placement and eyeball removal, Gupp is ready for his base coat of cinnamon stick paint, some orange dry brushing, followed by some light orange dry brushing. Then I add Gupp's eyes back in, weather him with some watered down brown acrylic paint, and decide last minute that his eyes need to be painted white, so that his crazy personality can pop as much as it deserves to. I complete his transformation with some giant black pupils. After letting him dry overnight, I realized Gupp was a little too pale, so I gave him some bright orange dry brushing and some beautiful red lipstick. Before we get started on Olly's body paint, it's time for our snack. Since I'm not very hungry at the moment, my daughter will be enjoying our snack today. This is one of her absolute favorites: rice with chicken meatballs and soy sauce. Let's see what she thinks. Ooh, a thumbs up! 2 thumbs up? What? 3 thumbs up? Wow, thanks, honey! Since Olly's bowls are modeled after Senshi's cooking pot, I paint them the same gunmetal acrylic color, followed by a light gray metallic dry brushing to make them look extra dusty. Then I add Olly's spikes on one by one with the help of some raw clay and clay glue. I imagine these spikes being the teeth of creatures found in the dungeon, like these Marlboros. After a base layer of dark gray paint, Olly's knuckles get a dry brushing of gray acrylic paint, followed by an even lighter gray dry brushing. Our leather components start with a base layer of cinnamon stick acrylic paint, followed by a light orange dry brushing. After coating Olly with a layer of watered down brown paint as his final weathering step, and letting him dry overnight, it's time for his varnish, which is a layer of matte Mod Podge. Gupp also gets a layer of matte Mod Podge, and some satin varnish on his eyes and teeth. Oh, and I also made this alternate head for Olly with the same rocky finish as his knuckles. With our boys completed, it's finally time for our photo shoot. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.